It was difficult. I think a lot of people suspected this would be the cause of death, but to hear the coroner say strangulation and to actually see it in the final autopsy report, it's hard not just to sort of imagine what Gabby Petito's final moments were like.
Cause, death by strangulation, and manner is homicide.
We now know how Gabby Petito was killed. It is in black and white here in Teton County Coroner Dr. Brent Blue's signed report. Death by manual strangulation, throttling.
I can tell you the DNA samples were taken by law enforcement, and all I can tell you about remains is that the body was outside for 3 to 4 weeks.
That adds new information into the timeline. Gabby's body was discovered on September 19th, and now we know, according to the coroner, she was killed 3 to 4 weeks earlier. And while the coroner would not talk about the investigation or Brian Laundrie, he did make a comment about domestic violence.
Unfortunately, this is only one of many deaths around the country of people who are involved in domestic violence.
After the coroner's announcement, Laundrie family attorney Steve Bertolino released this statement. Gabby Petito's death at such a young age is a tragedy. While Brian Laundrie is currently charged with the unauthorized use of a debit card belonging to Gabby, Brian is only considered a person of interest in relation to Gabby Petito's demise. At this time, Brian is still missing, and when he is located, we will address the pending fraud charge against him. Also today, Northport, Florida city crews boxed up the Gabby Petito Memorial that's grown over the last month near City Hall. A more permanent memorial is in the planning stages, and all of these cards, candles, and stuffed animals will be taken to Gabby's family. And in response to the Laundrie family attorney's statement, Gabby's mom said tonight that his words are garbage. You just have to imagine what Gabby's family must be going through right now, learning about her cause of death. Marnie?
I cannot imagine, Brian. What about the FBI? Are we hearing anything from them tonight in response?
Absolutely nothing. They have been silent, which has been interesting because it was the Teton County Coroner who sort of had this press conference on his own. The FBI and the U.S. Attorney were both not part of it.
How about the search out at the reserve, that swampy reserve near where you are? Did that continue today?
We haven't seen any search crews out there the last several days. We know the reserve was back open, at least for a brief moment. It's obviously very large, 24,000 acres, so they could be searching in an area that we haven't seen, but we haven't seen any sign of police there.
Brian, the other thing I'm curious about, and I know people at home are as well, is what is happening in that house behind you? What activity took place today? Have you seen the Laundries come out? And also kind of set the scene for us outside that house. What's going on?
Well, it's been relatively quiet here today, even with the coroner's announcement. Obviously, their attorney made the statement, but the Laundries have not come outside. Let me show you. It's actually starting to rain out here. But you can see the front door. All of the flowers that people have sent for Gabby are still right there in front of the screened-in porch. Many of the flowers have since died because they've been there for so long at this point. There was one moment tonight that was sort of interesting. There were some people that showed up and actually went to the front door of the Laundries' house, banged on the door. This was maybe a half an hour ago. The Laundries opened the door briefly, came out, then went back inside, and the police were actually called. We assume they called the police, concerned that someone was in their front yard. But besides that, no major significant activity out here, Marty.
The level of frustration growing, certainly with the autopsy reports tonight. Brian Enton, as always, thank you. We'll see you in a bit.